Welcome back to the YouTube channel, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, forgotten currency legends, and jaw-dropping numismatic discoveries. Today, we're taking a deep, immersive journey into one of the most talked about, mythologized, and downright unbelievable stories in the coin collecting world. We're talking about the 2015 Jefferson Nickel, a humble 5-cent coin struck in Philadelphia, that has somehow managed to generate rumors and intrigue of being worth up to $70 million. That's right, a coin that was meant to jingle quietly in pockets and drop unnoticed into vending machines has gained a legendary reputation in numismatic circles. The sheer idea that a coin minted so recently and in such large quantities could command such astronomical value sounds impossible, and yet, here we are to understand how a 2015 5-cent coin could become the subject of big money legends. We need to travel back through time and understand the evolution of the Jefferson nickel itself. Introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, the Jefferson design has undergone subtle but important changes over the years. The obverse always featured Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence. But it wasn't until the Westward Journey series between 2004 and 2006 that the nickel experienced major artistic redesigns. In 2006, a new image of Jefferson facing forward became the new standard, accompanied by a refined Monticello on the reverse, and this design remained in place through 2015. Now, the 2015 nickel seems at first glance to be just another modern coin. Over 400 million were minted in Philadelphia that year. It's made from the standard cupronickel composition. It carries no particularly remarkable minting errors in the vast majority of examples, and its face value, obviously, is 5 cents. But as with all things in the world of rare coins, the story doesn't end at the surface. Collectors and historians have long known that even the most common-looking coin can contain anomalies, rare die varieties, planchet issues, or low-visibility minting errors that elevate their value drastically. And in a few rare, elusive cases, it's the story behind the coin, its journey, its provenance, its mystery, that captures the imagination of the numismatic community. So how does one humble 2015 Jefferson nickel become worth $70 million? That's the central question, and the answer lies in a blend of rare minting anomalies, rumor, hoaxes, and the ever-growing allure of modern treasure hunting. First, let's examine the plausible roots. There have been persistent stories floating in numismatic forums, auction houses, and coin conventions about a small batch of 2015 nickels that were struck using experimental planchets. These weren't meant for circulation. These were tests, produced quietly by the U.S. Mint in an internal research effort, perhaps for future compositions or for durability testing. The idea that one or more of these test coins escaped the mint, deliberately or accidentally, and entered circulation has been circulating for years. Some claim that a single coin was recovered with a clearly different metallic composition, its surface tone slightly off, its weight imperceptibly different from standard coins. That one coin, allegedly authenticated by a private collector and traced to an anonymous mint employee, was never officially documented, but if it exists, it may be the $70 million legend we're talking about. Then there's the second layer of the story, the tale of a unique die variety that was supposedly discovered in 2017. According to the story, a collector in Ohio found a 2015 nickel that bore an unusual doubling on the obverse, not visible to the naked eye but obvious under magnification. This doubling affected Jefferson's eye and the word liberty, giving the coin a ghostly, almost artistic quality. Coupled with an abnormal rim and a slightly misaligned reverse, this coin was unlike anything else found in circulation. Numismatists were divided. Some believed it was a minor die clash or deterioration, others suspected it was an experimental strike or a die trial that had somehow survived the mint's strict quality controls. The controversy surrounding that coin caught fire in the collecting world. Articles were written. Online forums buzzed. Auction houses reached out. But the collector refused to part with it. He vanished from the public eye, and with him went the only known example of this alleged variety. And like all great mysteries, the absence of proof only amplified the legend. Was it real? Was it a hoax? Or was it something far bigger than anyone imagined? Some say the coin was purchased quietly by a private collector for an undisclosed amount rumored to be in the millions. Others say the story was fabricated by a marketing team trying to stir up interest in modern coin collecting. But the most persistent theory is that this coin, if it exists, contains a rare alloy mixture used during testing phases and perhaps even bears a micro-engraved mark from the mint itself, making it one of the most historically significant modern coins ever minted. To understand the magnitude of that claim, you have to understand the culture around coin collecting in the modern era. Rare coins aren't just pieces of metal anymore. They're artifacts, investments, and status symbols. In the world of ultra-wealthy collectors, unique or mysterious coins carry an intrinsic value far beyond their weight in gold or silver. Provenance, history, mystery, these all add zeros to the final price. A single unique coin from a modern minting era, tied to controversy, speculation, and with possible evidence of unauthorized release or experimental minting, becomes a kind of holy grail. Now, there's also a rumor, circulating since at least 2020, that a group of collectors in Asia were offered a 2015 P nickel for an astronomical price, somewhere north of $60 million. The transaction supposedly occurred through a private intermediary, using cryptocurrency. Again, no hard proof. No receipts. No photographs. Just whispers. But when stories like this circulate in the coin world, they grow, take root, and before long, they become part of numismatic folklore. And whether or not these stories are true, they fuel a fervor among collectors. People begin checking their change. Rolls of nickels vanish from banks overnight. Coin dealers are inundated with calls. All it takes is the possibility, however remote, that one of those millions of nickels is the rare one. The one worth more than a private jet. The economic psychology behind this phenomenon is also worth exploring. The idea that a mass-produced coin could be worth millions is similar to the lottery effect. People don't buy Powerball tickets because they expect to win. They buy them for the thrill of the possibility. And in the case of the 2015 P nickel, the legend becomes the ticket. Collectors chase rolls, hoard examples, compare surfaces and weights, hoping to find the one coin that breaks the mold. There's also the cultural factor. In an age where everything is digital, tangible treasures like coins carry a certain magic. They're relics of the physical world. They can be touched, stored, and handed down. They represent not just money, but a piece of history. And when a story like the $70 million nickel surfaces, it combines every element collectors love: mystery, value, rarity, and the dream of discovery. Interestingly, the US Mint has never confirmed or denied any claims about experimental 2015 P nickels. Inquiries made by journalists have been met with standard responses. Mint officials state that no coins from the 2015 year were produced in experimental formats for release. But some insiders suggest that during certain years, especially surrounding metal cost debates in Congress, the Mint did indeed run tests with alternative alloys, some of which may have been accidentally released into circulation. Combine this with the increasingly sophisticated counterfeit detection technology available to private collectors, and we have a landscape where rare anomalies can be authenticated far more easily than ever before. So if a 2015 P nickel really did exist with a different composition, different weight, or some exotic test alloy, it's conceivable that someone might have already found it, tested it, and sold it privately. But what makes this story so enduring is not just the potential price tag, it's the allure of the unknown. The 2015 P 5-cent coin, an unassuming nickel, carries with it a mythology that has become modern American folklore. It's the perfect storm of plausibility and mystery. It doesn't matter that no photo of the $70 million coin has ever surfaced. It doesn't matter that the Mint denies its existence. What matters is that somewhere out there, someone may be holding onto a 5-cent coin that rewrites everything we thought we knew about modern coinage. As of today, there are countless examples of 2015 P nickels being sold on auction platforms, some fetching surprising amounts, though none near the rumored $70 million. Most are pristine examples graded MS-67 or MS-68 by professional grading services. Some bear minor strike-throughs, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These are interesting and sometimes valuable, but they're not the million-dollar unicorn. Yet people still search. Because the myth persists, ultimately, the story of the 2015 P nickel worth $70 million is more than a coin tale. It's a reflection of our desire to find treasure in the ordinary. It's a reminder that sometimes the most common object can hide the rarest secret. It's a parable about value, both real and imagined, and the way stories can turn metal into legend. Last, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you've been following us for a while, you know we love to dive into the stories behind coins that are worth far more than face value. We've talked about pennies that have sold for the price of luxury cars, quarters that made headlines, and nickels that carried unexpected riches. But today, we're going deep into one of the most intriguing and controversial stories in the world of American coinage. We're talking about the 2007 P 5-cent coin. That's right, a nickel. A humble little 5-cent piece that sparked conversations in collector circles, online forums, and even casual coin enthusiasts' social feeds. Why? Because rumors, myths, and stories have swirled around this coin possibly being worth an eye-watering $74 million. Now that's the kind of mystery that deserves a deep look. First off, let's set the scene. The year is 2007. George W. Bush is president. The final Harry Potter book is being published. The iPhone is about to change technology forever. And in the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, production is underway for what would seem like a routine release of 5-cent coins featuring the face of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. Business as usual. Millions and millions of nickels are struck and sent into circulation. Nothing particularly remarkable at first glance. But in the world of numismatics, the most extraordinary stories are rarely found at first glance. It's usually something beneath the surface, something unexpected, something hidden in plain sight that ignites the imagination and raises the stakes. So how does a standard issue 2007 P nickel become part of a legend involving tens of millions of dollars? To answer that, we've got to look at several things: how coins are produced, what kinds of errors or anomalies can drive up a coin's value, and how speculation, mystery, and the human hunger for treasure turn ordinary objects into legends. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins every year. With that kind of volume, it's inevitable that some errors will slip through. Sometimes it's a misaligned die, a doubled image, a wrong planchet, or even a missing mint mark. Most of these errors are minor and don't result in much value, maybe a few bucks to the right collector. But occasionally, an error is so rare, so dramatic, or so unusual that it becomes a hot topic. With the 2007 P nickel, the mystery lies in a number of places. First, there's a small number of these coins that appear to have striking anomalies, some with off-center strikes, others with unusual planchet marks, and even rumors of a few that were struck on experimental metal blanks that were never meant for general circulation. That last point, if proven true, would be massive. Coins struck on experimental planchets, like those made of the wrong metal or alloy, are extremely rare and often very valuable. Think of the 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent. These kinds of coins weren't supposed to exist. Yet a few escaped the mint, either by accident or by the hand of someone who knew what they were doing. And that's where conspiracy theories start to grow. In the case of the 2007 P nickel, a story emerged years after it was released that at least one example had sold privately for an enormous sum, $74 million. Now, to be clear, this number has never been officially verified by a major auction house, nor has any major collector come forward to confirm they purchased it. But that hasn't stopped the rumors. Some claim the coin was struck on a leftover experimental blank from a foreign contract, possibly for a country whose coins were made in the U.S. Mint around that time. Others say it may have been part of an internal test involving different alloys for future coinage. One theory even suggests it was a one-of-a-kind mint error that was snuck out of the facility and ended up in private hands before anyone could stop it. It's these stories, the ones without clear answers, that fuel the legends. They capture the imagination. They make people look twice at every 2007 nickel in their pocket change. Could it be the one? Could it be the multi-million-dollar mistake? We've seen this before in coin history. Think about the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. Only 5 known examples. Not officially authorized. Somehow struck and kept outside official records. Today, each one is worth millions. At the time, people thought it was just a rumor. But eventually, evidence appeared. The 2007 P5-cent coin could be following a similar path. Or it could be something else entirely, a viral myth born of internet whispers and speculative headlines. Even without the $74 million rumor, there are confirmed varieties and errors from the 2007 P issue that make it a coin worth watching. Several have been graded by NGC and PCGS with unique characteristics. Coins with strong die clashes, misaligned dies, and partial brockages have appeared on the market. These can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on condition and the rarity of the error. The idea that one of these could have been involved in a private sale for a life-changing sum? That idea is thrilling, even if we never see the proof. Collectors and treasure hunters alike know the joy of the hunt. It's not always about what's confirmed. It's about possibility. The what-ifs. The maybes. That's what keeps people searching through rolls of nickels, looking at every date and mint mark, examining each coin under a magnifying glass. And there's something romantic about the notion that you could walk into a gas station, pay with $1, and get a 2007 P nickel in your change, one that could be a key to untold riches. Now let's talk about the mechanics of value. When a coin sells for big money, a few things have to align: rarity, condition, demand, and story. A coin with no story is just metal. But a coin with mystery, with lore, with questions that remain unanswered, that's where real value lives. People pay for rarity, yes. But they pay more for the narrative. For the connection to history, to mystery, to scandal even. That's why the 2007 P story keeps coming up. Because even if the $74 million figure was exaggerated, or based on miscommunication, the legend has power, and that power drives real market activity. Look at auction listings. Look at eBay, heritage auctions, great collections. Look at the way certain examples of the 2007 P nickel have been listed with ambitious price tags. Even ungraded examples are sometimes listed at hundreds or thousands of dollars, hoping that a buyer sees potential. Maybe it's someone who believes. Maybe it's someone who knows something the seller doesn't. Or maybe it's just someone caught in the dream. What fuels these dreams is the history of hidden treasures. Coins worth a fortune have turned up in the most unexpected places: old jars, forgotten boxes, estate sales. That's why the 2007 P nickel still holds such intrigue. Because it's recent enough to be in circulation but old enough to have a mystique. It's not just about a nickel. It's about the belief that value can hide in plain sight. That the ordinary can become extraordinary if you know where to look and what to look for. There's also the human element, the idea that someone, somewhere, might have made a mistake that turned into a miracle. Or maybe it wasn't a mistake at all. Maybe it was deliberate. A quiet act that slipped past all the safeguards. If so, then that coin, wherever it is, carries not just metal value, not just collector value, but historical weight. It becomes part of the ongoing story of how coins are more than money. They're artifacts. They're evidence. They're mystery boxes waiting to be opened. So as you go through your change, think about the 2007 P nickel. Think about the rumors, the errors, the possibilities. Think about the fact that millions of these coins are out there, but only one might be the key to the $74 million story. It might be tucked in a sock drawer. It might be stuck between car seats. It might already be in your possession, waiting for you to take a closer look. The next great coin discovery won't happen in a vault. It'll happen in everyday life, in the hands of someone who's paying attention. And if one day the truth about the $74 million nickel comes out, whether it's confirmed or debunked, it won't take away from the thrill of the chase. Because the real value in this story isn't just in the number. It's in the passion, the curiosity, the community of people brought together by a little coin that made a big impact. Thanks for tuning in. Keep your eyes open. Keep collecting. And keep believing that the next great find might be closer than you think.